everybody, and welcome into the Casual Sports Podcast, pre-recorded edition here on Friday or Wednesday morning. It's not Friday. I wish it was, so you can see where my mindset is. I'm ready for this Friday, man. I got Southern and Valley Christian. I'm already, prepping for that game. My focus is on that one. I don't have any other games this week at this point. My focus is out there. Oh my God, it's going to be great. Hopefully, you're on Friday, Matt, and we'll be able to talk about it. Maybe we'll see. But obviously you missed the show on Monday. Didn't get a chance to talk about any high school football of your own. Do you want to go over quickly what your game was from this past Friday before we get started?
I had Mooney versus Brush, and the way it started, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this Brush team can pull some stuff out. They had the opening kickoff was returned for a touchdown, but that's all they did. Mooney was everywhere. I mean, Jamar Mueller picked up a lot of yards on the ground. Ashton O'Brien did a great job through the air, finding, who was his name? Alec Delsignore for a couple touchdowns. He's a pretty big target. So, I mean, Mooney looked pretty good. They finally got over that 500 hump. They're 4-3 now. Hopefully they can get a couple more wins.
In the playoffs now. They have a spot at the moment so long as things hold steady.
They have a couple tough games on their schedule. I know they got Harding, who's down this season, but it's still Harding.
They beat Boardman this week.
Yeah, I think they got Steubenville on there too.
Yeah, good luck with that one, Mooney.
And then Ursuline to finish the year with the Holy War.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy finale, but you know what else isn't going to be easy tonight? Matt, the volleyball game you're on. At the moment, you're the only volleyball game on the network, so You're going to have the spotlight. You're one of just 5 games being broadcasted tonight as well. 4 girls soccer games that we're going to break down along with the one volleyball game going on the network tonight. But Matt, your Badger Braves have been killing it. Literally, in volleyball, you get a lot of kills, and they've been adding them up this season. And now you look at them here, 6 straight wins in which they haven't lost a set.
No.
How about them Braves?
Way. How about them Braves, man? I love calling them. I'm going to try and get some coach interviews tonight. Even my partner, John Ostapowitz, coming down. He's got a camera checked out and everything, so we're going to do it the official way. Not on our phones. We're going to get the camera and do actual interviews. So we're going to try it. Plus, it's something I got to do for a project. But
don't mention that part.
But it'll still be good to do it that way. But yeah, I mean, they got PV's 7-11. They should be able to get them pretty good. They swept them last time. Well, let me just check. They did, yeah. So they swept them last time. 6-game winning streak. We haven't lost since St. John, and we got a chance to get them again. I mean, get back at them because that's their next game. They haven't lost since then. So then that's an away game. I think it's a conference tournament game. But great play. They're 14-2. I like their coach. She's said a lot of good things about the team. She knows what she's doing. What can I say about the 2 sisters they got there, the Betts sisters, Sarah and Hannah Betts, absolutely killing it. You have Hallie Myers, who's really good. You got a couple good servers in there as well. Very young players as well that are doing really good. I think her first name's Brianna Lendak. She can serve, she can kill too. Unbelievable. But they haven't been able to stop them. They fire it so hard that these teams come in and they're like, oh no, they literally every team I've seen, Maplewood Matthews, they're running around like, chickens with their head cut off because they fire that ball in, and when it hits their palms, it pops right up in the air, and they're trying to chase it down. They try to chase it out of bounds. Sometimes it pays off, but most of the time it doesn't. But Badger has a great strategy for winning games.
Yeah, and if Badger continues to win, playoffs not entirely out of the question. Top 16 teams from each division make it. So it's a much tighter field to get into. At the moment, Division 4, they don't have the strength of schedule, and they're only ranked 49th. But if you're going to finish out this season with, a couple more wins, at this point, 6 games left on the schedule, a 20-2 team, it's going to be very hard to kind of leave that out of an AP poll to potentially decide who gets in. So an interesting situation to kind of see where things break down as the season finishes. I mean, if you talk about deserving a spot, how could they not? 43 set wins, 9 set losses, and no one's been able to challenge them in the last half month. And, you talk about this matchup tonight with Pymatuning Valley. Matt, it was a 3-0 sweep, but the last time they played, every set was close. Set 1, 26-24. Set
I know.
7-25 and set 3, 25-18. So it was a tight battle last time. Badgers clearly the favorite coming into it. But, as you're talking about, it's not just one girl with this team that can go up and put it down.
Everybody.
Kills against PV last time. That was spread out between 6 different girls, all of which were basically around 5. So you really do kind of have to continue to point that out, that this isn't a one-woman show. There's a couple other teams where if your star player has a bad night, they don't go anywhere. I think that's kind of been the case with Campbell a lot of times because Kendall Brown has over 200 kills. But up until yesterday, nobody else had really been helping her out on the kill department. However, they just found a freshman over there in Campbell who was lighting it up. Jada Coriano learned the name. 5'6" freshman got put in the third set as they were getting they lost first 2 sets tonight. They put in Coriana, and for whatever reason, just lit a spark. Campbell down the first 2 sets, came back in Liberty on the road with the biggest crowd there of the season and pulled the win out. All behind the freshman and Kendall Brown and Angelise Diaz. They had a lot of great play all around. But then after the game, they named this freshman player of the game from the coaches.
Awesome.
And the entire team was hyped around her. It was quite the little run there for them at the end as well. But you never know who's going to step up. And Badger, they're getting everybody stepping up at the right times this season, and it's paid off for them.
Oh, it certainly has, and I can't wait to call the rest of these games. I mean, there's going to be some tough ones. That St. John's game, they're 16-1. That's going to be the battle right there. They were actually swept by St. John, so they didn't take that very lightly. I think they're going to try and bring everything back at them and try and finish strong. And then they got Campbell, too. You were just talking about Campbell. They're coming into town, too.
Yeah, that'll be a fun matchup. Campbell, they're really starting to heat up now. You got to watch out there. But Division IV volleyball, St. John is tied for number 17 in the polls. That would go a long way for Badger to get that jump up here in Division IV if they can beat them and potentially, start getting some looks back their way, especially with the Campbell team that's now over 500. You go to on the road in Bloomfield, who's over 500. They're 11-8. You got Warren JFK, who's 5-10, but then Heartland Christian to finish out the year, who's 5-12. So these next, 4 games for Badger, very important to come out with. I got them winning it tonight, Matt. I think they'll maybe 4 sets. They've gone on a great streak of 3. PV held them close last time. That was in PV. Maybe they don't get the chance this time around, but I think they can potentially steal one of those sets. However, set 4, I think, would be quite the catastrophic blowout. I think set 4 goes Badgers' way, 25-12.
That's good. That's a good prediction. I'm not going to pick it because I'm calling it, but every set I've called, I've almost had a heart attack because I thought they were like, oh my gosh, it's so close, but they seem to pull it off. They're sweeping every set, but like every game, it's
right there.
Some of them are right there. I'm like, okay,
hey Matt, one thing to know about that: if they make it to the playoffs, come playoff time, they're going to be set up pretty well because they have played tight competitive competition all season long.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only volleyball game we have on the network. Only 3 other teams in action, or 3 other games going on tonight, not on the network. Cheney and JFK at 5:30. JFK probably going to win that. Hubbard and Salem at 6:30. Warren, Harding, and Newton Falls at 7. Matt, your game at 5:30 tonight. So be aware, games are at different times because most JV teams aren't playing anymore. So schedules get a little changed up.
It's at 5:30?
That's what it says, yep.
Where does it say that?
On the sheet Quinn sends us.
Oh, boy. Okay.
With all the announcers. Yeah, you're 5:30. So double check with your guys that, you're all going to be there at the right time.
Yeah, I'm texting right now.
Okay, there we go. Into soccer, Fitch going on the road. They take on Boardman. This is girls soccer. Austintown Lady Fitch going 5-7-1 at this point. Boardman 3-8-1. I saw this Boardman team a couple of weeks, or I believe last week, I should say, when they dropped one on the road in Howland. Matt, this Boardman team, not great on the road. They're 0-6, but back here at home, they've been 3-2-1. So it's been a much better story. All their wins coming here. Fitch coming in on the road, a team that has had their own road struggles. 2-4 when they've ventured off. They've now lost their last 3. They dropped a home game on Monday to Canfield. I don't like them to rebound here. I don't think they're going to do it. I think this is Boardman's shot. They've been going through a killer losing streak. They've got 5 losses in their last 6 games dating back to September 10th. So coming in today, I feel this is a game they need. They haven't played at home since September 21st, and that was their last win that they got. So I think this is a great shot for Boardman to pick up another win here tonight. And, you look at Fitch coming in, as I said, I mean, they've lost 3 straight, granted a hard 3 straight, Howland, West Branch, and Canfield. But I really think Boardman getting back at home, they have a chance to kind of bounce into it. And then Fitch going to their last 3 games. You got 2 home games, 1 road game. I'd probably have them favored of that. But season wraps up in a week for Fitch. They finish on the 12th. Boardman will finish on the 12th as well. So I'll go Boardman. I think it probably goes 3-2. I know they haven't had that score as a finish this season, and they've only scored 9 points in 12 games, but I think they need to win a high-scoring one to pull one out here against Fitch.
I'll go Fitch here. I mean, what a stellar team they are. I'll go Fitch. Last time they swept Boardman, so I'll stick with that.
Girls soccer, Matt.
Oh, girls soccer?
Yeah, we switched while you were texting.
Oh, whoops. All right, I'll go Boardman.
Okay, as your web pages, I'm sure, are struggling to load out there. Yeah. But our next girls soccer game, there you go. I'll preface it for you, Matt. We have the Howland Tigers, who we were just talking about. They're going on the road to take on the mighty Irish of Ursuline, who come in at 8-4. Both teams are on some nice winning streaks. Howland, now 4 straight. I saw this team. They were 5-4-1. And I was like, all right, yeah, they're fine. Since then, though, they won that game I was on the call with on the 26th. Then they beat Fitch. Then they beat Poland. And then they beat Harding last time out. And now they have a real hard test against Ursuline, team they have not seen this season. But with the tear that they've been on recently, I think you have to look at them a lot differently than you would have a couple of weeks ago. And with this run, last 3 games, they haven't allowed a single point. Now, they got a big stretch of this at home. 3 straight home games. Their last one on the road in Warren G. Harding might have been their best game of the bunch, winning it 4-0. So now you set them up on the road against Ursuline, a team that at home this season is 4-2. On the road for Howland is 3-3 this season. Ursuline, they've won their last 2 games against Marlington and Harding. But they lost the 2 games prior to that. And the one I think I kind of circle is they lost 2-0 to Fitch. Well, this is a Howland team that just beat Fitch 1-0, and they beat them both times this season when they've gone up. So when you look at the head-to-head matchups, all right, who's the similar opponent? Fitch is the one that kind of jumps out to you. And Howland's had the edge over Fitch both times. I think they probably hold the edge over Ursuline tonight. I think it's close. But with this Tiger Tear right now, I think they're going to be called the Tiger Terrors by the end of October because they're scary to play right now. And coming in on the road, I'll take them tonight. I think it's low scoring, though. I'd go 1-0. Howland takes it.
Yeah, Howland seems to be a pretty good team. 9-4-1. Ursuline's very good as well, 8-4. But I don't know here. I'll go with the Howland. Yeah, I'll go with the small school upsetting the big school. I'll go Howland.
I like to hear it. Next one up, still in girls soccer here, Matt. Poland on the road. They're 9-3 this season. They venture into the Dragons' Den. Niles 7-2-2 winners 3 of their last 4. And Poland coming into this, they have won 5 of their last 6 game. So quite the tear it's been recently for this Poland Bulldog squad. I really do like them coming in tonight. These 2 teams have not met this season. But the one game I kind of circle you go back to is Lakeview. Niles just lost to Lakeview 3-0. Poland 2 weeks ago, beat Lakeview 3-0. So a 6-point spread kind of between the two in terms of the common opponent. Now, earlier in the season, however, Niles did tie with Lakeview earlier on, but still, you look at that Poland team, that one common opponent that you circle on there, that the one team's lost to, other team handled. I think that's kind of the way I look at this. Most of the scores against the common opponent as well have all been in favor of Poland. Their offense absolutely lethal. I think we see it showcased again here tonight. I'm taking the Bulldogs, and I'm going to go Bulldogs take this 3-2. I think it's going to be fairly, I'll say, high scoring, 5 goals. Not the highest of scores, but to get 5 goals between the two teams, I think I like that here tonight. Both teams have had really good offenses, so I would not be surprised if that hits over. But with the way their defenses have played, I mean, Niles has given up 9 points in 11 games, and Poland's given up 9 points in 12 games. They're not giving up a lot of points. So 3-2 is what I'm liking.
Yeah, 3-2 sounds pretty good as well. I mean, pretty good team here with Poland. They have a pretty good strength of schedule as I'm looking at right here. So we'll go Poland.
I like it. All right, one more game going on here on the network tonight. West Branch on the road in Salem. Matt, West Branch has not lost this season. They have only tied, and that came all the way back beginning of the month against North Ridgeville in North Ridgeville, which I'll say from here, about an hour 45, 2-hour drive. It's not a quick one over there. It might actually be 2.5, depending on which way you take. I'm very familiar with that area. Heck, I partially lived there for a while as well. So, West Branch, they've had a really great run of things, and now you look at it, 7 straight wins. You can say 10 wins without a loss as well this season. So it's been a really great winning streak for this West Branch team. Salem comes in, Matt, though, they're just as good. They are 10-2 on the season. Their only losses came back to Canfield in August, and they lost to Howland in August. They have not lost in the month of September. Yeah, I think that is wonderful to look at when you kind of compare these two teams. They're both playing great. Neither one has really been challenged in a month, and now you're closing in on the end of the season. Playoffs very much in the picture for both of these teams, and quite a few common opponents between the two, but there's really not a lot to be able to compare between them because they've both played so well. I mean, the common opponent in Minerva, they both played in Minerva. Salem won 4-0. West Branch won 6-0. 2 extra goals, which in soccer can be a lot, but it doesn't really concern me. I think this is going to be about as close as can be. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they pull out a tie. It's not that common, though. And no one's tied with Salem yet this season, so I'm going to give the drop to Salem. And I'll take West Branch on the road, and I'll give them a final 3-1. I'll take West Branch.
I almost want to go upset here, but I'll stick with West Branch. I mean, 10-0-1. I mean, that's unbelievable to do. And, they're not just beating cupcake teams here. Like, they're beating some good teams. That last game, I mean, Austintown Fitch, 5-7-1. But, I mean, their competitive schedule is pretty decent. I mean, the North Ridgeville, the tie, I mean, look at North Ridgeville. I mean, that's a long distance away. I mean, and North Ridgeville isn't really that good. They're 3-7-2. But, like, the drive, I bet you that drive just killed them, honestly.
It is, because it's also, I believe, on the Turnpike, and there ain't nothing to see on the Turnpike for that entire drive. I've made it. I've passed North Ridgeville to go up towards Lake Erie and visit my family up there. So I've made that drive. I've gone past it. There also ain't much to do in North Ridgeville. There's not much to see. You get off the Turnpike, and you're pulling in next to a drive-in movie theater. And that's the main attraction of North Ridgeville until they have the Corn Festival.
Oh, God.
There's a sweet corn festival.
It's
great.
Like Hartford.
It's a great sweet corn festival. The local ice cream shop has sweet corn ice cream, and I'll say it, it's weird but oddly good.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll go West Branch here one more time. Salem might upset, though. They might upset.
Couple of our scores from last night's game that you can check out every game going on. Make sure to check it out, ysnlive.com/score, to check out the scoreboard coverage that you can't find anywhere else. Every team that we have scores getting updated there live as they come in. So from last night, Campbell beat Liberty 3-2. Southern beat United 3-1. East Palestine took down Latonia 3-0. McDonald won 3-0 against Mineral Ridge in volleyball. South Range beat Poland 3-2. How about that McDonald upset over Ridge? That's a bit surprising. But yeah, McDonald upset Ridge in volleyball last night.
Oh, geez.
Took it in 3 sets. Crestview takes the MVAT Grade Tier Championship as they sweep Garfield last night 3-0. Howland took down Ursuline 3-0. Jackson Milton beat Sebring 3-0. Brookfield Newton Falls go 5 sets, but Brookfield takes it at home. Western Reserve sweeps Springfield. Beaver Local swept Ware. Lakeview beat Jefferson 3-1. Wellsville swept Columbiana. Mooney swept East. And Edison took down Steubenville Central Catholic 3-1. In boys soccer, Canfield beat Fitch 2-1. And those were all the scores that were sent in to us last night. Couple gaps in the scoreboard. Didn't get final scores from those games. They will be updated at some point here this week as those scores do eventually shuffle in. But Matt, some pretty good games going on the network tomorrow. Boys soccer, Columbiana Struthers. Girls soccer, Steubenville and Beaver Local. For volleyball, Brookfield and Garfield, that's going to be a great one. Ty Martell is going to be on the call for it. Salem and Ursuline, South Range, Lakeview, Howland, Canfield, Fitch, Boardman, Mineral Ridge, and Springfield. Lakeside and Orange going to be on the network as well. And Girard Struthers. Volleyball on Thursday. For Saturday, Mineral Ridge and Lowellville going at it at an 11:30 game. Crestview and Girard at 1:30. Girls soccer on Saturday, West Branch, Beaver Local, an 11 a.m. game. That's your weekend or the next couple days slate here for the network. Those are all the games we have filled at the moment. But of course, Friday, Matt, it opens up the big one that we're going to break down here the next 2 days on the network, and some of the best games we have going on for the entire high school football season coming up this weekend. I mean, maybe none bigger than Austintown Fitch at Wadsworth, which I'm fairly hyped for. Ty Bartell, man, they're making this dude drive all around this season. He goes an hour and a half out to Massillon, Washington a few weeks ago. Now he's going to take an hour and 20 out to Wadsworth. Somebody give this guy some gas money. He's going all over the place.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, so I'm going to have some great games, however. I'm getting sent decently far, too. I got an hour drive down to the Wigwam in Salineville.
Yeah, that should be something. That should be a game.
I can't wait. We'll break all those games down, though, over the next 2 days. The network, Mike will join me on Thursday, and perhaps Matt Morrison will join me for the Friday show. We're still working out schedules for the rest of the week. But, Matt, I think we have to jump over into the world of professional sports. Give the first half of the show to the high school on Wednesday. Back half, though, we've been kind of saving for a little bit of our own professional breakdowns because we still enjoy this in this part of the show. So, Matt, we're getting down to the meat of things. Major League Baseball has its playoff teams. The field has been solidified, I believe, after Tuesday's games. With that, with our new playoff format, a few more teams into it. Let me give the entire rundown of teams before we get going. So, in the American League, the Wild Card Series starting October 7th. That is this Friday. I'm sure no one's going to be watching that because there's high school football going on in the network, and that's the more important of the two sports. And obviously, YSN coverage. Can't find anywhere else. You can find replays of the baseball game. You can see the scores. You can't see it anywhere else. You can't see high school football anywhere else. Only here on your sports network. Baseball, they've had the last 5 months. It's YSN's time to shine. But, Matt, Tampa Bay Rays and the Cleveland Guardians going at it Friday. Seattle Mariners and the Blue Jays on Friday as well for the American League. These are best of 3 series now in the wild card. No more ones and dones. We are done with that. Thank goodness. In the NL wild card, Philadelphia and St. Louis going at it October 7th. And the Padres at the Mets are the wild card games. Other teams to make it in there, they've been given the divisional series games. We have the either Mariners, Blue Jays, they will play in Houston. Rays, Guardians, winner takes on New York. And those are best of 5 series for the divisionals. And Those games will take place October 11th. Padres Mets winner takes on the Dodgers in LA. Phillies Cardinal winner takes on the Atlanta Braves. So, Matt, I know you've been dying to get into it. I'm going to hand you the stage here. Take
Let's
it away.
do it. Which side do you want me to start with? My Guardians?
How about National League? We'll save Guardians for last.
All right. So, man, I've been saying it all year. Braves are going to win the division. Braves are going to win the division. Matt, who do you think is going to win that division? The Braves. Who won? The Braves. All right. From it was like 4 years in a row they won the same division. But that Mets team definitely forced to be reckoned with. The Braves had to go in there and sweep them, which they did, which is very tough to sweep the Mets. But doesn't matter what happens tonight. I mean, if they end up in a tie record, the Braves had the season series 10 games to 9. Literally that close. That's how back and forth it's been. It's been insane. So, I mean, this Braves team, I mean, a lot of people are like, hey, no Freddie Freeman. They're better. They won more games than they did last year. And they don't have Freddie. They have Matt Olson. They have Acuna back. I mean, a lot of guys have been stepping up. Austin Riley playing amazing baseball. I can't even believe the style of baseball he's been playing. Their pitching staff is good. I like good old Charlie Morton. I like Max Fried is another guy you got to keep out for. But it should be pretty good. Another pretty good run for the Braves. You never know, though. I have some sleeper teams in here. I mean, this St. Louis Cardinals team, you do not want to play them. You do not. The Phillies are going to have their hands full with this Cardinals team. All right, go ahead. I mean, you got the 3 vets, one swan song left. You got Pujols, you got Wainwright, and you have Yadier Molina. This is unbelievable. Pujols is still hitting home runs. He's at 702 home runs now. He broke the 700 record a week or so ago. So I'm excited to see that Cardinals team, Phillies team. I mean, they snuck in somehow, some way. They just snuck in over that Brewers team, and I mean, you got to be in it to do something. So they're in it. You can't count them out. The Dodgers are the cream of the crop. I mean, they're the best. They have the best record in all of baseball. I think it's a record-breaking. 110 wins.
Let me look that up for you.
Look that up. Oh, my goodness. But we'll see here. We'll see what happens. Freddie's on that team. Freddie's been playing
116 is the record from the 1906 Cubs.
What is it?
The records from the 1906 Cubs, 116.
Ooh.
The 2001 Seattle Mariners also hit that mark as well.
Oh, wow.
However, the Cubs did it on a shorter season, so they had the best winning percentage in history.
Okay.
Yeah, they had 116 wins in less games, so that was also their last title up until 2015. 2016, right. But that's crazy that they hit the record and then they never touch it again for 100 years. So that's quite turnaround. But Matt, my thoughts on this National League. I mean, as you mentioned, Dodgers, they're destroying it. And me, I say this every time. I love the numbers. Give me the numbers in this, and that's how I'm really going to pick this thing. And when you look at the numbers for the Dodgers, they're about as perfect as can be. Maybe the one knock on them is the expected win-loss based off of runs scored and runs allowed. Their expected win-loss record would be at 115-46 tonight. Instead, they're 110-51. I know, nitpicking here for the Dodgers because it's great. But their differential, plus 329. Next highest is the Yankees at plus 242. The mark that you're seeing right now from this Dodger team is massive. And especially, you flip this back to last year, the highest run differential, 269, it was the Dodgers. Dodgers have led the run differential, or the run differential, I believe, the last 5 seasons. So Houston was, they were just short back in the 2019 season. Dodgers were 273. Houston was 280. We haven't seen anybody hit over 300 in quite some time. And what they've really done this season is separate themselves from everybody else. In fact, I'm going back. I don't know if we've ever had a 300-run differential for any team, and they're up at 340. So it's quite the impressive mark they're seeing from this Dodgers team right now. I don't like the Dodgers. I have a friendly rivalry with one of my neighbors because she's a huge Dodgers fan. I always try and make fun of her for it. And laugh when they lose, especially when they kept choking in the World Series because they'd been there like 3 straight times, couldn't win it. And then they finally do it. I'm like, oh, man, there goes that. Because Cleveland doesn't have any. Might change this year. We'll get to that. But, Matt, this Dodgers team, I think you have to look at them. Clear favorite. They really made their entire division look silly. I mean, the NL West, we came in, everybody was playing really great. But then they had to go in and play the Dodgers time and time again, and they kept getting their butts kicked. I mean, they just got stopped. And when they played anybody else, it was a really great division, except for when they had to play the Dodgers. That's when they really all fell apart. No one's really been able to beat this team consistently this year, and that's one of the biggest things I worry about. When you have to go into a 5-game series in that divisional round, are you really telling me you're going to take 3 of those games against the Dodgers? I don't see it happening. I think that is too good of a team to win 3 games in that short of a stretch. I know the Dodgers have lost their last 3 games. It's September baseball, and now in October baseball, early October, you pull off the gas a little bit. You're resting some of your best players. You're not letting them play as long. I'm not worried about these last couple of games. You took momentum into the month of September. That's going to pick back up now that we're in October and into the postseason. Dodgers far away favorite, but Matt, yeah, your Braves absolutely kicked it into another level. I thought there was going to be some fall off, and it kind of looked that way early in the season. It looked like, all right, Braves, they started out well, then they hit that slump, and you're like, all right, where are they going to go from here? Is it going to be a team like we saw last season? Are they going to be better? Are they going to be worse? A lot of question marks mid-year for Atlanta, but they turned on the gas in the last half of the season, went on some epic runs, and they battled the whole way, like you were saying with the Mets, and they finally closed in at the end. They finally jump them, and they're able to hold on to that divisional lead, and they're going to get themselves a week 1 or a first round bye. That's the word I'm looking for. And they're going to still potentially see the Mets later on, which I think will be perhaps the most exciting piece of that is if we can eventually get that because that would be the NLCS. If the Mets can beat the Padres and the Dodgers, then they have the Braves.
Yep, and that's going to be something to see right there. But I want to touch on this Dodgers team again. What's their record again? 110?
110 and 51.
Okay, so last year they were 106 and 56. Not so far apart, but, I mean, they did add a couple other guys, Freddie Freeman, yeah. But I mean, we see this team every year winning over 100 games, and they always get upset. They always choke. So, I don't know. This has got to be I know they did get one, but come on. 1 World Series in like how many trips?
Well, Matt, they can say they've been to about, I think, probably more World Series than any other team throughout their history. So, tonight's their final game. Rockies got 3 straight against them. I think this is a game they're going to put everything down to it. It's a 4:20 game tonight, 1:20 Pacific time. I think they try and make this one final nice win, set them up well for the postseason. Matt, the one thing I think you have to remember, yes, they choke, but they choke in the World Series, so they're still the favorite to take the National League through this postseason. Last year the Braves got them, but are we going to see it back to back? That's the question.
We could very well see Braves, Dodgers, and LCS, and what a series that would be. Freddie.
Well, that's the most likely one.
Freddie against the Braves.
Rematch. What a rematch that'll be. That would be intense. Man. You know, the MLB writers would be eating that one up. You know what else they were eating up today, Matt? Over on the American League side, Aaron Judge hits home run number 62, passing Roger Maris, who passed Babe Ruth 61 years ago. Aaron Judge has now eclipsed that, holds the American League home run record. And that record is the only home run record that stands that may or may not be touched by steroids. Some of the NL ones, some of those players were in the steroid era, and that's one of the kind of asterisks that gets put next to the NL home run record. So this is kind of being considered the MLB home run record for non-juiced baseball.
Yeah. And, I mean, you know how I can't stand the Yankees. Everybody watches this show can't stand them. Can't. But Aaron Judge is absolutely unbelievable baseball player. He's got good attitude. He's not cocky. He's one of the few cocky guys, or few non-cocky guys on that team. So I like him. He's a good player. I mean, 62 home runs is just unbelievable to do. So, especially when you're not on the juice.
No juice was loose in New York this time around. At least we don't think so. Perhaps that could come around. What a story that would be.
Sure, he gets tested.
All rise for Judge Juice.
Oh, gosh.
But, Matt, National League, do you have a dark horse? I know I think you just said you have a dark horse team. Who is it?
Oh, it's the St. Louis Cardinals, man.
Are they really, though? I mean, Central Division champions. Are they really a dark horse?
I mean, with all those teams, I mean, you got the defending World Series champions in there. You got the Braves. You got the Dodgers in there that are always hyped up every year. The Mets are in there. The Mets are like the newfound team. Everybody's on them. Everybody expects them to get there. Then you have the St. Louis Cardinals team, filled with a bunch of old guys. I mean, look at them run. Look at them go.
What do you mean they don't run?
Yeah, they hit. They hit. They don't have to run. They hit.
Right. It's like Babe Ruth's philosophy. I hit home runs because I didn't want to run.
You want to talk to a strong man? Talk to Yadier Molina. Spent his whole career behind that plate. He's like 42 years old, and he's still back there catching balls.
All I'm going to say is he's not going to be able to walk when he hits 60. His knees are gone.
His knees have to be gone.
There's no cartilage left in those things. It's all bone.
No.
It's being held together by muscle at the moment.
Oh, yeah. He's a big dude.
Yeah, but Matt, best of 3 series for the National League. Phillies or St. Louis? Obviously, I mean, it kind of sounds like you liking St. Louis here. I think I'd have to agree. I like St. Louis over Phillies because I'm not a fan of this Phillies team. I don't think they have very good pitching. They've had decent hitting. Yeah, but you know, they do make the postseason here thanks to the expanded format. But it's the differential for me that I don't like. Same reason I don't really like where the Padres sit, and I don't really like, I'll say it, I don't really like where Cleveland's going into this. I think that you look at any big underdog, and it's going to be Cleveland or Seattle in this postseason as your big ones. But here in the NL, I think this would be fairly even, but I give St. Louis the edge, and I'll give Mets over the Padres. I don't think that's going to be much of a problem for them to deal with. Padres, it's a one-trick pony. They have no pitching.
Yep, no pitching. That's it.
Yep.
That's all we need.
But then National League, so I would go Mets versus Dodgers. I'd give that to the Dodgers. Cardinals, Braves. The old man trio comes to a close. Braves send it down. NLCS, I got Braves, Dodgers. I know it's the simple pick, but I think with the season we've seen, baseball is one of those. It does follow a trend. You don't really see a ton of upsets happening. Dodgers and Braves. I honestly think that this is the best Dodgers team we've seen of the bunch. I think they'd have the edge, and going up, Freddie Freeman against his old team, I think he does terrible. I think he gets 1 hit in the series. I'll give him 2 hits. They go 6 games, but I take the Dodgers to ultimately beat the Braves and move on to the World Series out of the National League.
No, I'm going, man. Braves.
Yeah, I'm guessing your breakdown was about the same there, but it goes the other way around, and Freddie Freeman, I'm sure, gets no hits in that on your book.
Yep. I'll still wear my Freeman jersey back there, but, man, I want him to lose. You want to leave? Go ahead. Who's going to come back and beat you?
He didn't even know he had an offer, though. I mean, how much can you blame this on him? It's like, he thought they didn't want him.
Maybe he'll come back.
Maybe. I'm sure he'll retire there when it times comes. He'll sign that final contract. One of those 10 days or 1 day contracts, and he'll walk off. Into the American League, Tampa Bay at Cleveland. I'm going to give my pick on this one right away. I mean, we obviously love Cleveland. I'm going to take Cleveland over Tampa Bay. Their run differential favors them by a smidge, but they've won more games. They have good pitching, and that's the one thing. Both these teams have good pitching. Hitting science goes to Cleveland, and I'll take the divisional champions in Cleveland.
Let's do it. You know who I'm going with, man. The way I'm picking things, it's
Tampa.
going to be Braves, Cleveland World Series.
Oh my gosh, world would go up in flames if that was to happen. No, flames might go up if Seattle takes down Toronto here in the other wild card game. Really, the true wild card game, because it puts 2 of the 3 wild card teams against one another.
Yes.
Seattle, Matt, finally, 20 years it took for them to reach the postseason again, and they do it. It was that 2001 squad with 116 wins, and then they fall off the face of the planet for 20 years. Just like we saw with the Cubs, 1906, 116 wins, and nobody sees them again in the postseason.
Phillies getting in the playoffs first time since, 2011, too.
Yeah, who cares? It's only 10 years. That's not that bad.
Still,
20 years here for Seattle, it kind of doubles that.
Still
And it was the
10 years,
longest
man.
streak in baseball at this point, I believe.
Yeah.
Longest postseason drought. I'm going to take Seattle in this one. I think coming in, that fan base is going to be electric. I know at least game 1's going to be in Toronto. I don't know exactly how this is going to break down for the postseason. Let me pull this up. Let's see. All 3 are in Toronto. So, you're going to have that across the country. I wish that Seattle had a chance to fill up their own stadium.
This Seattle team is something different. I saw them play. It has really good players, man. Rodriguez is absolutely awesome. He's going to be around for forever. I hope. Everybody's looking at him like they did 20 years ago at Griffey. So, the Seattle team is something to deal with. I would be afraid for Cleveland to play Seattle because we didn't do anything against them. So,
well, I'm taking Mariners here. I'll take them on the road against the Blue Jays. I don't like taking the road team very much here in the wild card, with all 3 games being at the home team, at the higher team stadium. So, you're going to have a disadvantage. But if you can win that in Toronto 3 straight, I think it makes it interesting. They would then take on the Houston Astros. Guardians would take on the Yankees. And Matt, I don't love the Guardians' chances against the Yankees. They have been an Achilles heel in the postseason.
I like our chances better against the Yankees than Houston. Okay, Houston, I don't think anybody is going to touch Houston. I think Houston's pretty good. It's going to take a miracle for somebody to beat them.
Yeah, and that's why I hate to do this, but I'm going to take Yankees over the Guardians. I hate it. I don't want to. And I'll take Astros over the Mariners. I will set up an Astros-Yankees ALCS. I think that's what's best for the sport. And I know I'm just taking the favorites here really the entire way through. I've pretty much taken the favorites.
Cleveland will prevail.
I'll go Dodgers-Astros World Series because I think that is the matchup I think baseball deserves this season with the great run. And I don't even know who to pick in that one because I think that's about as tight as can go. I'll go Dodgers.
You might see a rematch of last year.
I'll go Dodgers to win it all.
I'm going Braves. I'm still gonna rob my Cleveland Guardians, man. I think we can. I know what the odds against us. I know all that. Yankees are a power team. We're a young team. Everybody's saying, "Oh, next year." Well, we're here now. We're not talking about next year. We're here right now, and we're gonna put everything we got against these guys. And we'll see what happens. I think we have a chance. We're here. We can't win unless you're here. We're here. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not gonna make any picks until we get there. Because I don't want to jinx us against the Braves. Because I think we can beat the Braves, but it's a playoff. So I don't.
All right, well, Matt, let's get into it here one more time. Week 6 of the polls here for college football are top 10, and I'm really excited about it this week. I think we have some really great teams jumping in, and a couple of shakeups as we have a tie for 10th place in the polls this week. One of them, Matt, you're going to be happy about it. Penn State Nittany Lions, they grabbed the 10th spot. The other team to go with them, though, at number 10, the Bruins of UCLA. They're going to get the bump. This was thanks to my vote here. Nobody else wanted to give this to UCLA, but here is my reasoning.
That's pretty good.
When you look at teams going into this top 10, show me another team outside of the top 5 with a win against a top 25 team. You can't do it. UCLA is the one. UCLA is the only one from 6 to 10 outside of Ole Miss that has a win against a top 25 team, a current top 25 team. That is how I went into this. Is that team still top 25 that you beat? So I took away the top 25 win for my own Ohio State Buckeyes doing this. I dropped them in my own polls this week. I dropped Ohio State after winning. So I took the bias out of it this week. I went purely by the numbers. UCLA has one of the best wins in the entire country out of any team that has played. They took it to Washington 40-32. I know it was close. That was just their second Power 5 win, but you have to give credit to wins at this point in the season. Penn State, man, I mean, it's been a solid run for them so far. I don't love what they did, though, in that last game.
Yeah.
Against Northwest. 5 turnovers is bad, but they're one of only a handful of teams that has 3 Power 5 wins. Those are my two of my criteria for my top 10 this week. Top 25 win, Power 5 wins. Put those together, what looks best? And you look at Penn State, 3 top Power 5 wins for them this season. That's important to me because who gives a crap about group of 5 wins for our top 10s? Really? No one from the group of 5 should be standing with our top 10, and that's why I dropped Georgia hard in my polls this week. I have them sitting at 4 in my own personal rankings this week because of their crapshoots the last 2 weeks against Kent State and Mizzou. I know Mizzou is a Power 5 team. They still won. I give them a little smidge of credit, but I don't like the way they've been playing. But, Matt, Penn State, UCLA, I think this is a great spot for both teams to really be sitting right here. Still kind of unproven, right? Here's the big spot for Penn State.
Got a bye week, too, so they got some stuff to figure out before they go to the big house.
And that's going to be the test for them. But then they have Minnesota after that, then Ohio State. So a 3-game grind. If Penn State comes out of that, they're the number 1 team in the nation. I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
At number 9, Oklahoma State. The Cowboys make this spot. Matt, this is one team. I don't think they hit my top 10s. And I would have had them at 12 if I did. You look at their schedule and their Power 5. They've only played 4 games. That's one part. They had their bye early here in the season. They've only played 4 times. They have just 2 wins against Power 5 teams. They beat Arizona State, who fired their head coach, I believe, after that game or the next week. And then they do get a win against a then top 25 Baylor, but that gets taken away. They're not a top 25 team anymore. So I'm taking away that big time win. It would have propelled them for me into that top 10, but I'm also still not buying in with this defense. I think it's still questionable, and it's good enough to win. But we saw last year especially, and I think Ohio State was the big one with it last year, right? No defense with great offense, and it comes back to bite you sooner or later. With Texas Tech, TCU, Texas, Kansas State, Kansas coming up on the schedule with Iowa State and Kansas, or Iowa State, then Oklahoma in West Virginia to finish the year. It's a tough grind for Oklahoma State, and I think that defense is going to burn them this year.
It could, yeah. It could.
Next one on the list here, number 8, the Ole Miss Rebels. The Rebels, I have them at number 6 on my own personal poll. They come off at one of the only top 25 wins outside of UCLA. They got the top 25 win this past week for this top 10. Not a lot of teams have it. The ones that do, they're getting the edge. And Ole Miss, with that win, it looks good for them. The one knock is just 2 Power 5 opponents so far in the schedule, and one of them is Georgia Tech. The other one, a great win here against Kentucky. Can't discount that at all. But they also struggled a week ago against Tulsa. So question marks for sure, but they're legitimate at the moment. They are playing good football until they don't.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss, very tough team. I think really they have a good shot at upsetting Alabama. I think they're the only team that could have a good shot at it this year. I'm not really on that Tennessee bandwagon too much, but Ole Miss, they're very stellar. I think they're better than they were last year. So look out for Ole Miss. They're sneaky. They're just a sneaky team.
Very sneaky. At number 7, the team you're not too high on, the Tennessee Volunteers, is a team I put at 10 in my rankings. 2 good wins in Pitt and Florida. However, no top 25 wins for them. They were both top 25 wins at the time, but with the kind of the fall off we've seen from Pitt here, I mean, they've had a hard schedule, sure, but they just lost to Georgia Tech this past weekend.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. And that kind of takes it away from me. Then you look at the Gators. who have they really beat? I mean, they beat Utah back in week 1. Since then, they've looked like crap. That they played one good game this year, and now they look like absolute crap. So Tennessee beating them, Tennessee should have won by a lot more. If Tennessee was a legit team, they would have won by a lot more. LSU, I think, is a good test again here this weekend for them. But then they have Alabama after that, and they're going to get absolutely toasted. I don't think Tennessee is going to make it through this top 10 very much longer.
I don't think so either.
I'd say they're going to stay on after this week. But after they lose to Alabama, they're going to get exposed in that game.
Yeah, I think so.
At number 6, the USC Trojans. I personally have them at 8 in my rankings, following that same criteria. Who have you beaten? Any top 25 teams? And that's kind of the one knock, right? No top 25 teams for USC yet. They won't see one until the 15th against Utah, and that's in Utah. I don't like them going into that game at the moment. Cam Rising's turning it up with the Utes. 3 Power 5 wins. However, the Power 5 opponents, Stanford, Oregon State, Arizona State. And Arizona State made it look bad this past week. And it was a late-night game. Not a lot of people watch it. A lot of people look at that final score and go 42-25. All right, maybe a late touchdown there for Arizona State. Arizona State got outscored in the fourth quarter. 14-8, Trojans won in the fourth quarter. Up until then, I mean, you were looking at a 28-17 game. It was not pretty. Caleb Williams is a slinger. I mean, dude is a great quarterback. Might actually be the most talented quarterback in this year's class, but he's sloppy. He's undefined, unrefined, and it's going to cost the Trojans. I really think against Utah, maybe against USC, and definitely against Notre Dame's defense. I know Notre Dame has no offense and they suck. They still have a great defense, but USC for me, a lot of question marks building. I think that slip-up's coming. I would not be surprised if 4-1 Washington State this week in the Coliseum comes in and pulls the upset.
It might be.
Because at this point, that would be the best team that USC has played this season.
I mean, I think they got 91 other receiving votes to be in the poll.
Yeah, they're just outside. It was a big matchup. Big upset potentially coming. But, Matt, we have a new number 5 team because we have a new top 4 now in college football. As number 5, Michigan, falling out of the rankings in this one. They're playing great football, but their strength of schedule is killing them at this point. No top 25 wins, just 2 Power 5 wins. And I put them up here still top 5. But honestly, they should be sitting below Ole Miss. They should be below UCLA. This is the team in Michigan that probably should be sitting about 7 in my own personal eyes, where they probably should be. If I was to go back and kind of redo my list, the only reason I have them even top 5 is because of Blake Corum, because he is a phenomenal running back. But J.J. McCarthy is young. They have solid defense, but 34-27 over Maryland in the first test of the year, 27-14 over Iowa. All right, they let 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns go. I'll take it. Fine. Not a problem there. But Michigan, they haven't been tested. They're not going to get tested on the road until Ohio State in the final week of the season. This was a big one. They went into Iowa. I mean, that field kills top 5 teams, and they survived. But they don't have a true – I mean, everyone wants to criticize Ohio State for not going on the road yet. This was the first road game, and it came in week 5 for them. Ohio State goes on the road this week. But you look at who they have to play on the road this season. Iowa, Indiana, Rutgers, Ohio State. Only 4 road games for Michigan this year. And they have as cupcake a schedule as any team in the nation until that matchup against Penn State and then Ohio State. Outside of that, no one's touching this Michigan team. Not with Blake Corum's running ability.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only guy that you've been really talking about. So, I mean, got to take a tough team to, to stop him and to see how good they are. And there's going to be some teams coming up that could just do that.
At number 4, a team that has now received a vote for number 1, Clemson. In my book, they are the top team in the nation. And here's why. Matt, I know you don't like them, but they're the only team with 2 current top 25 wins.
I'm starting to come on board a little.
And 3 Power 5 wins. They beat Georgia Tech, who just beat Pitt, and Pitt beat Clemson last year. So I think Clemson, they just proved this week that they're the best team in the ACC. They are going to win the ACC this year, unquestioned at this point. And I don't think anybody else on this schedule is going to challenge them. And I think they are going to be undefeated. I called it preseason. Clemson was going undefeated. I believe, at least I did. Here, let me just pull this up real quick. Clemson top team undefeated. Right there, you can see it. I got them as the top team in the nation right now with 2 top 25 wins. At number 3, the Ohio State Buckeyes. I put them at 3 in my book. Mike had them at 3. Matt, you were actually the highest one on the Buckeyes. For me, it's just the lack of a top 25 win. Yeah, 2 Power 5 opponents, no top 25 win. Kind of sit it in the same book as Michigan. They've just played better in their games against Power 5 teams. At 2, the Dogs fall down. I had them at 4 in my book. Mike still has them at number 1 until they lose. And Matt, you had them sitting at number 3. So a bit of a shift for them. I mean, a 1, 3, and a 4. Not loving where the Dogs are sitting right now. They were actually tied points-wise with Ohio State in our book. Each team received 25 points in total towards this week. But with the number 1 vote from Mike, Georgia gets the edge for the number 2 spot. And that brings us down. Number 1, Alabama. I don't love it, but how can you hate it with this team? They're playing good football, and they're consistent. They're consistently winning. The still knock against them, same one for Ohio State, right? No top 25 wins, and they have 3 Power 5 victories, but one of them came against Vanderbilt. That's the one thing. It's a Power 5 victory, yes, but it came against Vanderbilt. And now the question becomes, how do they play without Bryce Young this week, hosting Texas A&M?
Texas A&M needs to revamp their whole offense, man.
Yeah, they're not looking too great.
No.
But that's how our top 25 breaks down. Teams receiving votes this week. These came in all from me. I went a little bit deeper into it. TCU, Kansas, Syracuse. 3 undefeateds left that are inside of our top 10. So I want to keep an eye on those. James Madison, Coastal Carolina, both still undefeated as well. Those are really all the undefeated teams we have going on. I think we're going to lose a few more here in the next few weeks. Obviously, I mean, I think in the next 2 weeks, you got a good shot that I think we lose 3 or 4 undefeateds. So we're going to finally start seeing some one-loss teams break into this top 10. But you can find that full breakdown here on our Twitter page at Casual Sports Report. I've been Alec Brenna. That's Matt Morrison. Power Hour coming up next on your